Hi students, in this tutorial I'm going to talk about debugging in C#. So let's create a new project. At the top just click on File, New, and then click on Project. Okay, I need to click on Project here. So now here you just need to click on Template, just open it, and then click on Visual C#, and then here you can actually click on Console Application, right? And for the name of the project here, just type in here Debugging in C#. And now let's actually click on OK. So it's gonna create a project for us. So now let's actually just create a class inside our project. First of all, let's open up the Solution Explorer. So at the top just click on View and then just click on Solution Explorer here. So now it's gonna open the Solution Explorer for us. First of all, let's change the name of this class. Let's change it to I think it's good. Program, it's good. Let's create another class. So just click on this Debugging in C# namespace here. Right click on it. And let's actually click on Add and then click on Class. So here for the name of the class, I can just type in here Boxer. Right? Boxer, and then click on Add. So now we have this Boxer class. So you know that we have this Boxer class inside this Debugging in C# namespace. And you are already familiar with this namespace, and you know that you can actually delete this namespace here inside this code. Because the Visual Studio already knows that this Boxer class is actually inside this Debugging in C# namespace. So inside this Boxer class, inside the curly braces of this Boxer class, I can actually say I can create a variable, an instance variable. So I need to actually declare my variable as private, and I need to actually specify the data type of my variable, so integer, and the name of my variable is going to be punch power. Right? Semicolon. So this is my instance variable for this class. And now you may ask that, so why we have to actually declare our instance variable as private? Why we cannot actually declare our instance variable as public as I'm doing here? Yes, it is possible to declare your instance variables as private, as public, but it's not recommended. Why? Because it's not a good programming practice to allow other classes to access your instance variables directly. Okay? So it is not a good programming practice. Always declare your instance variables private, and then you can actually create getters or setters in order to allow other classes to manipulate your instance variable. Never ever allow other classes to access your instance variables directly. This is not a good programming practice. So now I just want to change it to private, and now I can actually create a getter and a setter for this property. So first of all, let's actually create a setter. So the access modifier of this method that I am going to create is going to be public. So public, and the return type of this method is going to be void. So this method is not going to return anything, so it is going to be void. And now I need to specify the name of the method. So the name is going to be set. As you can see, the name of the method starts with capital letter, right? So this is actually a convention, right? So set punch power, right? And then I put a pair of parentheses in order to specify here that this method, this setter, is going to accept a parameter. So the parameter is going to be of type what? Integer. Because this instance variable is of type integer. And the name is going to be a Boxer punch power. Boxer punch power. Right? And then I just need to open and close this method by using these curly braces. An opening curly brace followed by a closing curly brace, and you know that this is actually called the body of this method. So let's go inside the body of this method, and here I can just refer to the name of this instance variable inside this method, inside this setter, right? So here I can say punch power assignment operator, and now I can assign this parameter to this punch power instance variable. So in this way we are actually initializing our instance variable. So I can say Boxer punch power semicolon. So this is our setter for this instance variable. So now let's create a getter for this instance variable so that other classes can actually access the value of our punch power instance variable. And now you may ask that, okay, so is this possible to only create a setter, not a getter? Yes, it is possible. Or now you may ask that, or is it possible to just create a getter, not a setter? Yes, it is also possible. And that's why it is recommended to use getters and setters in order to allow other classes to manipulate the value of your instance variables. In that way, you have the control over your instance variables. But if you allow other classes to access your instance variables directly, in that case, you don't have the control. Okay, they can do whatever they want with your